leg. And then by the end of the summer, she was belting out show tunes in the mirror, getting ready for the talent show. She'd never seen growth like that over such a short period of time. Or the boy who was afraid to get in the pool, and then by the end of the summer, he's jumping off the side doing cannonballs. It's that kind of stuff. Oh, Mr. Glossa, you would like this one. One dad reached out to us, said that his son was terrible, and I asked him if I could share this. He said yes. I know I could share it. But he said, my son was terrible at losing. He was the sorest loser ever. And we would see it at camp, and he said by the end of the summer, he learned to lose at camp. And he goes, we were as a family playing knockout in our backyard, and he lost, and he didn't throw a temper tantrum like he normally does. He goes, hooray, that's a big win for us. So again, this is not child care, this is child development, this is child growth, and this has been something that we've been working on a long time. A lot of late nights, a lot of early mornings, coming to school and working and going to wrestling, getting home at 8:30 and then answering emails till 11:30 and then waking up at 5 and putting flyers together before coming to work. It's a lot of work, and this has been a culmination, and really the next phase in what we're hoping is not just a one-year partnership, but hopefully a long-term partnership that continues to grow over time. So thank you. Happy to answer any questions if anybody has any they'd like to have.
I have a question. Oh, I'm sorry. The after-school enrichment, you said it's only once a week?
Yeah, so the pilot is going to be a 6-week program, once a week after school. So it'll be like STEM and robotics, K-2, Tuesdays for 6 weeks. Yeah, that's how it's going to be structured.
Can you get a question?
I did. Actually, I follow this on social media, and I'm like, where's the phone number to call and talk more? You know, some parents have said they're looking, I'm one of those parents, looking for a transition for like a kindergartner who kind of outgrew preschools and where they're going to go for the summer. Is there an orientation for parents for the summer program? And I'm asking for the public because I was wondering for myself, that they can attend. Because dropping your kids in a different environment
Sure.
that you've used to for the last 5 or 6 years at a preschool, where you have a relationship and a bond with those teachers.
Right.
And now you're like, okay, where are they going in the community for the summer? They can't stay home for 9 weeks. So I was wondering if there's an orientation about the summer program where people could kind of get to know the team or kind of get to know more rather than following it on Instagram and Facebook.
So we do an open house, but I'm glad that you asked this question because it's a good idea. So we do an open house for people that have registered, and the kids come, they pick up a t-shirt, we should go through what we do. But for parents that might be interested, that want to learn more, that's a fantastic question that you've asked, because I think it's a good idea in order to fill parents in that want to learn more about it.
Right,
So,
before they register.
100%.
To make sure it's a match for them.
Yeah, we're going to get that put together.
Okay.
Definitely.
Does anyone else have any questions?
I have a correction. Miss Bernardo was here actually in 1990.
Ooh.
Miss Bernardo, she's from Messina. Our gym teacher.
I thought she might have been, but I didn't want to say it.
Yeah, like 29, so I don't know why it was around the 90s, but I'm just saying.
When was she?
I don't remember. Actually, I don't remember off the top of my head.
I went to college with her, early 90s. She's here in my
She was 93. She's going to love this conversation.
I know, there's a rise discussion we're discussing here.
I graduated.
Okay, does anyone else have any questions? Okay, thank you for the presentation.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Ray.
Thank you.
Okay. Superintendent of Schools report, Mr. Glossa.
Good. Thank you, everyone. I feel like it's been a little while. First of all, I want to thank the musical. Participation looks phenomenal. And, watching Dr. Kuchar's face as the army of children that kept entering, and usually she's very stoic, and she just, her face lit up. Participation is great. It's signs of a healthy program. And I truly appreciate them giving that opportunity to the students. I appreciate the students taking their time to participate and work hard. A lot of people don't understand how much work is actually put into a musical, from the set build to the rehearsals to learning their lines and everything. from the pit orchestra all the way down to the stage crew. It's truly a team effort. It takes a lot of work, a lot of volunteerism. It's a lot, and I appreciate that many people participating. So thank you for coming out. I also want to thank Mr. Gutierrez for coming out. He is looking for a partnership that we've been discussing now for a couple of months, trying to see if it's the right fit for us. If you have any questions, we're not voting on anything tonight. We wanted to give you that presentation, and if you have questions, now's the time to email me, reach out to Dr. Kuchar and I, and we can facilitate a conversation. We've already had some, and they've been actually very productive questions that have given us insight and made us look into things. So it's a one-year trial, and we will see, but we think it's like a pretty good opportunity for us to gain revenue, solid revenue that we can count on, as well as you see it provides income to our teachers, safe place for kids to go. And I will say in terms of camps, it's nice having actual certified teachers running the camp because they know how to treat kids, not only like as little people, but like pedagogically and teaching them and getting them to grow. So if you have any questions, please email us. All right, under board action, looking to get approval for the January 2026 HIV report. In Milford High School, there were 0 HIV 338 forms submitted. In DEO, there were 0 HIV 338 forms submitted. Berkeley, there were 0 forms submitted. In Gibbs, there was 1 HIV 338 form submitted. The HIV was investigated by the anti-bullying specialist and was unfounded as it did not meet the criteria for HIV. And I also wanted to get approval for the January 2026 suspension report. There were 0 students suspended. In Milford High School, DEO, there were 3 students suspended for a total of 3 days. Each of them served a day of in-school suspension. Berkeley, 1 student served 1 day of in-school suspension, and in Gibbs, 1 student served a half day of in-school suspension. Under personnel, I'm moving for the approval of the following retirements. With regret, Mrs. Erba, who had been serving the district since 2008. Mrs. Erba began her career as an instructional assistant before transitioning to a role as secretary at Davy Owens Middle School in 2011. So she was here when I was here, before I left and came back. She's been a cornerstone in the main office for the past 15 years. So we wish her luck in her retirement. She will be missed, and I know she's only a phone call away. Also, Mary Casey has served the district as a dedicated paraprofessional since 2021. Most recently, she has served in Berkeley, and as we know, our paraprofessionals do God's work. I mean, they are in it, and they do a tremendous amount for our students. So we wish them both, happy days. Under personnel also, looking for approval for the following individuals serve, not just in the pit orchestra, but to help supplement the musical. It's a big production, as you can see. The pit orchestra, I talked to Ms. Hayden-Bauer about this. It's just an element with live performing music that they think is vital to the theater feeling. And with their fundraising efforts at this time, they feel like they can, afford it and provide that. And so there's a list of people to approve. Under finance and facilities, Dr. Kuchar will talk mostly about this, but I really want to point out the Ed Foundation. They are donating 2 classrooms of furniture to us, to the high school, brand new desks and teacher podium and teacher desks, and they're looking to sustain that over the next couple of years and at least donate 1 classroom. So we can slowly just start making the classrooms feel like it's less 1972 in some of them. Mr. Peroni sat in some of those seats. New seats, we carved your name in there.
We'll find the lucky ones.
So they also donated a vacuum for the weight room, which I thought was hilarious and wanted to mention that, so thank you, Ed Foundation. Under athletics and co-curricular, thank the volunteers, Mr. Godelli flag football, Ms. Otero, new middle school teacher getting involved and volunteering for softball. Mr. Seidner, another new teacher volunteering for baseball. I love the young teachers volunteering for things and getting involved, and if they do a great job, eventually they stay with it, they'll be a paid position eventually. But that's the pecking order and what you have to go through. And also like to thank Mr. Hayden-Bauer for volunteering for the spring musical as well. Real quick district update. Emma does a great job, but I really want to thank the town and the building and grounds crew for all their efforts with the snow. I must have talked to Mr. Piero throughout the day on Sunday bothering him, throughout the day on Monday. He was here plowing all day. I stopped by with my son after we did, our driveways and everything else. I just want to point out how hard these gentlemen worked. They were here since 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. I got here at 3 to check in on them. They were still shoveling and on all their machines. And then they hadn't even shoveled their own homes. They came here without shoveling them. So they put us first before their own homes. What do I say about that? But that's one of the reasons why, along with the town shoveling so well and plowing so well, that we had the ability, obviously Monday was going to be closed, it was just too much, but we had the ability to open, delayed opening on Tuesday. And I want to impress upon everybody how important that is, that the town, the DPW, we were in constant communication with Sil, Vince. I even stopped by there in person to talk to them and thank them, go through chief of police, the mayor. It was a constant phone calls, and it truly took a collaborative community to make this happen, and we saved an emergency snow day, which is huge, because I want to make sure the public understands they're just not free days. And the students, I get student emails saying, hey, we think this should be, as a representative of the student body, and we think this should be a snow day. And I answer them back and say, hey, please understand that these are not free days that we just give away. You would have to go later in the summer. But at least they're advocating for their position. They have not won yet, but hopefully, they take my explanation and understand. But I really do want to thank, when 63% of districts with high schools were closed, we were open, which is great. Not every district is different, but Pagoda, closed, Dumont closed, Bergenfield closed, Paramus closed, and each is individual, but again, testimony to everybody involved. I can't thank them enough. So we still have one emergency day right now. If it all goes well, Tuesday pending, there's another storm coming Tuesday supposedly, we're keeping an eye on. That last day is June 21st. We'll see how that goes. But if we use it, if we have to, we use it. I mean, it's safety first for the teachers as well as the kids. And I also want to thank, we had great attendance on Tuesday for teachers coming in. That's also very important. If we open up schools and teachers don't show up, that is a different kind of problem. So I thank the teachers for showing up as well. And administration, they have to show up. Berkeley Casino Night was great. We have the New Milford High School Murder Mystery coming up this Friday. It was great last year, a lot of fun. I look forward to it again. We had the 100th day celebration at the elementary schools. I want to give a shout out. I was visiting Berkeley on that day for Mrs. Guardino's class. They dressed up as 100-year-old human beings.
My daughter's class.
Yeah, I'm shouting them out because they had tremendous participation. I think everything involved participated. I mean, some were with life alerts. They had wigs. It was pretty phenomenal. It was very funny. Rare Disease Day we celebrate on Friday, February 27th, just to kind of honor. We have a very diverse population of students in terms of, disabilities, and we're going to honor them. I'd like to give a shout out to Ian Lee, who's a junior in HOSA. HOSA is a very, very popular club in this school. It's future healthcare professionals. There's like 70 kids in it. And Ian Lee last year won first place in the dental terminology category for the New Jersey HOSA Northern Regional Conference. Well, he did it again first place. So now we will represent New Milford in the state competition. Last year, he, I think, took first place in the state, either first or second, and went to the national competition in Tennessee. So he's only a junior, so I expect even more of him. So no pressure, Ian, but good luck. Great kid. The Unsung Hero Award will be celebrated next March 4th, I believe, at 6 o'clock. And the Unsung Hero Award is every school district in the county gets to honor someone. And in our case, it's Emily Garzon Cabrera. And Emily transferred to New Milford High School at the start of her junior year, facing the multi-layer challenge of adjusting not only to a new high school, but also to a new country and a new language. The progress has been nothing short of remarkable. From her first day, Emily has been a model of hard work, determination, and ambition. She finished her junior year with outstanding grades and a clear goal to pursue a career in healthcare. This school year, Emily's efforts were further recognized when she was accepted into the Milford High School's competitive internship program. Her maturity and professionalism have proven to a significant asset in the hospital setting where she is currently serving. She's an intern in the hospital. She takes great pride in her consistent demonstration of resilience and drive to succeed will make her successful. So we congratulate her. She will be honored at the Unsung Hero Award. Voices of the Holocaust were presented to our 8th grade students. It's Holocaust, but also musical at the same time, and our orchestra plays while the slideshow is going. It's pretty emotional. It's great, and they've been doing it now for a number of years, and I hope to have them back next year. Emma mentioned names, not numbers. I don't want to understate the significance of this. This names, not numbers thing is a huge deal. Not many school districts have the opportunity to do it. We have multiple Holocaust survivors, which is very difficult to find coming to our school, and they're going to be interviewed by our students, and they put together a huge documentary, a legit documentary at the end of the year that we have to edit with them, and then we have to have a screening at the end of this year. I believe it's mid-June, June 16th, and we are going to invite the house, and I'm hoping to pack it, and it is like a professional documentary that is free to us, but our kids just interview survivors, and they're taught how to ask questions, how to do follow-up questions, how to show empathy. I mean, there's a lot of people skills involved in this as well. And when you're sitting in front of a 90-year-old person who's involved in genocide, and they mentioned a liberator of one of the camps, and there's still a lot to tell about it. This is a huge thing that Mr. Groff, I got to give a shout out to him. He has really taken the bull by the horns and is doing a lot of work to make this happen. So I'm very much looking forward to that. All right. Update on sports and co-curricular. Winter sports update, girls basketball. I know Emma talked a lot about this, but we have a state tournament Friday at Midland Park at 5 p.m. Boys basketball, state tournament Friday at Cresskill, 7 p.m. They wrestling, they qualified for the state tournament last week. They lost to Pompton. The district begins Saturday, February 28th. Bowling, we mentioned Layla Grund, 275 is the new high school record. That is phenomenal. She's the highest female bowler in school history, that Emma mentioned. Winter track, the states start this Saturday in Toms River. We mentioned again a bunch of great athletes going down there. Competitive cheer, they were league champs. The states are March 7th or 8th. It got postponed from last week. Your daughter was a film, right? Park Ridge. Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. It is. It's awesome. And then I want to give a shout out to Sophia Santelli. She was first team All-State, and Colleen Willis, second team All-State in competitive cheer. So great. Swimming, Coach of the Year, Emily Correa, second time in a row. They're wrapping up their season with individuals now. Ice hockey lost in the first round of the states, but we have two students who are in the co-op, Northern Valley Old Pan Demarest, Alice Leib, and Logan Asuka. On Project Unified, we've been playing basketball with other towns as well as bowling, but we're in basketball season now. And we were to have one today, but it got canceled. So we're hoping for another home game because that draws a lot of crowds. The bleachers are packed. If you have not been to a Project Unified basketball game, I would strongly suggest you do it. I reached out to Midland Park, my former district, and I'm going to have representatives come down to be like, you should be doing this because it is a phenomenal model to other districts. Also in athletics, we got recognition for the NFH School Honor Roll because our coaches do trainings. 90% of our coaches do enough training, so we were honored with national distinction. We are also, our middle school is an official revolutionary school, which is in New Jersey. It's voluntary NJDOE recognized school or district designation that honors the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution. And our social liaison department at the middle school is using their resources to teach about the revolution, which is great. We had 12 students achieve the seal of biliteracy, which means they are proficient in Spanish in this case, and also English. I also wanted to discuss ice real quick. I've been getting a lot of emails about ICE and our response to ICE, and just to make sure everyone understands. If ICE ever did show up to one of our schools, they would not be allowed in. We call our lawyer right away. So once they're in school, you know, they are safe. ICE has affected our community, to be very clear. And not to make anything political or anything like that, but ICE has affected our community. It's something to be aware of, and it's a conversation to have with your children, because if they walk to school or anything like that, they should be aware of resources that are available to them and what to say. But once they are in school, they're good. We accept and encourage everybody in school to come to school at all times. We are lucky enough in Florida to have a very diverse community, and that's one of the aspects that makes this school district great, and I think different than a lot of other school districts, and we promote them. Upcoming events, February 27th, the murder mystery, also March 2nd, Read Across America. If you'd like to join, you're more than welcome. The 4th and the 5th, the Holocaust Survivors comes in, Unsung Hero Award. The 4th, Legally Blonde. We have the Senior Citizen Dinner and Show, which is the dress rehearsal on the 4th. Very much looking forward to that. We get a big senior citizen turnout because it's free food. And we do a lot with the senior citizen program, a lot. So it's wonderful. And then 3/13 is Empty Bowls fundraiser. It's one of my favorites. I'll bring my whole family to that. March 14th, SATs, and March 16th, NJGPA, which is state testing. That is it for me. Are there any questions? Yes, sir.
I just have a quick comment. I actually had emailed Ms. Olivera about this. Unfortunately, I can't be at Dr. Seuss Read Across America Day, but in last October, I was fortunate enough to take a quick trip with my wife to Springfield, Massachusetts, where the Dr. Seuss Museum is, and took a lot of pictures, and I sent her a few of them. But I would highly encourage anybody who may be interested in taking their kids to a museum. It's a pretty cool place.
I've been there. It's
Yeah.
amazing. If you have young kids, it's an amazing museum. Highly
really
recommend
is.
it.
Up to what age is
I don't know. I think 5th graders would enjoy it because you can run around and it's really cool actually. It's very
that?
interactive.
You enjoyed it?
I know.
I loved it.
I know
It's like my favorite
50-year-olds that enjoyed it, so. It's actually a really cool place. There's a couple of different museums in the quad, I guess, is for lack of a better term, but it's pretty interesting place.
Do they serve green eggs and ham in the,
If they did, I didn't get that cafeteria, but there was certainly a lot of green eggs and ham. It's actually really cool. They have his, workstation where he drew. It's really educational. It's really cool.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Assistant Superintendent Report, Lorna Doxta.
Good evening, everyone. Great lead-in because I was kicking it off with testing, so thank you. Testing season is here. We begin with the NJGPA now adaptive, so it's NJGPA-A in March, followed by NJSLA adaptive at the end of April, and then leading us into May. For the NJGPA, all of our 11th graders will be testing to measure their graduation readiness in ELA and math. And for NJSLA, we will be testing in English Language Arts, 3rd through 9th graders, in mathematics, 3rd through 8th grade, plus high school math courses, including Algebra 1 geometry or Algebra 2 as needed for accountability requirements. The assessment, as I had spoken about at previous meetings, is now adaptive. I just want to clarify that the actual tests are not fixed, so they will change based on the responses to each student's, how they're answering the questions, but it will not go below or above grade level. So it's still measuring their grade level content. We also just concluded, well, in January, our universal literacy screening for K-3. So this new law requires us to benchmark students in K-3 at least 3 times a year. And then we upload the reports to the Department of Ed twice a year. So the screening has concluded, the report has been submitted to the Department of Ed, and The family reports are going to be delivered via Parent Square tomorrow at 11 a.m. So they were sent out in, I want to say November, maybe late October, November, with the fall results. So keep an eye out for that. Friday morning, the school-based testing teams are going to meet with me for training, and then more information will be disseminated regarding the actual testing process in the schools. An update, I know earlier in the year we approved the acceptance of our ESEA funding, our federal funding, and all of the different titles. So we had spoke about allocating some funding for .6 interventionists, 4 of them, 2 at the high school level, 1 at the middle school, and 1 at the elementary level. We've since approved 1 interventionist. We have not been able to secure part-time teachers to fill the other positions. So we're now looking at reallocating that funding so that we can bolster things that have been really successful, like our after-school tutoring programs, sharpening skills for right before testing, and thinking about how we can provide as many supports as we can by the end of the school year. So the funding is only, we say this year's money for this year's kids. So the program period runs from July 1 through June 30th. There are some things that we would hope to have been able to provide, like summer step-up. Unfortunately, we can't use this money for that because it takes place after the expiration when our funds must be expended by. But we're hopeful that the things kind of return to normal and we don't get the allocation as late as we did this year, so that we can provide some of those supports, for populations that require it. I recently attended a New York State under professional development and a multilingual learner workshop, and it was actually hosted by a New Milford High School alum, Darlene DeHaan, who has a wealth of experience, and it was great spending the day with her. And she gave a special shout out to New Milford, and I'm hoping that we can connect our ESL teachers with her for some professional development moving forward. C2526.30 on the agenda tonight, we're seeking approval of SCORE. So this is a tool that helps students explore colleges and careers, build their college lists, prepare their applications, request their transcripts, recommendations, kind of house everything in one place. Right now, and for many years, we've been using Naviance. SCORE, as well as other platforms, were recently researched by our guidance department here at the high school, and this was an obvious front runner. Also provides a cost savings, which is really nice, and it's going to help families and counselors kind of keep better support students in that, like planning life after high school. So we're really excited about that transition. And I think that concludes, that's everything that I have for tonight.
Does anyone have any questions? Okay, thank you. Business administrator reports, Stephanie Kuchar.
Good evening. I just want to start by saying I really am so impressed with that musical and the amount of students. It really rivals the high school football team. I can't get over how many kids. And so that's a real shout out and testimony to the program that's been built up over the years. And I know just how many hours and hard work, and I know Mr. Crete was here doing the set build, trying to get it all done before the snow. So I'm sure it's going to be a great production, but that was an enormous cast and crew. So it's really nice to see such student participation in that. I know that the buildings and ground staff, it's their job, but the time and effort that was put into having to move the snow because there was no place to put it, and having to physically move snow, especially at Berkeley, from one side onto the front lawn so that it would be an easier drop-off and access for the students and staff. So I just think that they really did a phenomenal job. And like Mr. Galasso said, they were here before they did their own houses. I know the maintenance crew, who I affectionately call the red shirts, came in. They were supposed to be here at 6. They were all here by 5:30. And so it's just a really impressive crew and job that they did that allowed school to open on Tuesday. At our last meeting, I believe it was the last meeting, in January, we had the audit presentation, and the only recommendation that was presented by the auditor was the night care. And so I think it's important for the board to know what hard work that Ms. Auerbach and Ms. Horgan have put into that program, because we did run an audit on it through December and worked with the auditors on it, and they are not running a deficit, and they've really turned the program around. After 2 years of running a deficit, it's now back in the positive, which is really nice because especially in such a tight budget, we are looking to use some of that money to offset some operational costs. What that may look like is if part of our buildings and grounds budget, we refresh the wood chips at the elementary playground. That's also used by the night care staff, and so we'll be using that money to refresh wood chips. So it allows our operational costs to go to other things, so we don't need to cut additional monies.
And wood chips are expensive.
Yeah, and that's why I use that example.
Wood
because
chips
you
are
would-
expensive, and we expanded the playground, so just more wood chips.
It's so wonderful when the PTO donates all of these great things like air conditioner, but when they do that, we have increased costs. So now we have increased wood chips, we have increased electricity, we have all of these things. It's all great. But it's things to consider as you move forward. So I just want to thank them for their hard work and sort of really looking at what it takes to run a program and not just staffing it, overstaffing it, or and really meeting the student needs. The board had directed to put out an RFP for a special ed council. It was posted, it was advertised, we received 0 responses. So it is what it is, that's the update.
Okay.
Probably not what the board was wanting to hear, but there's really nothing we can do when it's posted. We posted on our website, we posted it to the newspapers, it goes out, and unfortunately we didn't get any responses. So, there's that. The March, before I do that, F-25, 26.166. In the current 25-26 budget, last March or April, the board designated $2 million to be withdrawn from capital reserve. And the money was designated to do the windows in the high school cafeteria. The facility concerns in New Milford is a very large list. This has been talked about at length over many years. And for a long time, the roofs were not done. They were 10, 15 years past their life expectancy. The board made the investment, and every school now has a new roof. And so the next thing is not really something that the community or really even the board really wants to invest in is your windows and doors. But what that does is it creates efficiencies in other areas, because when you have single pane windows and you're heating the town. And so you always want to protect your assets. And so in an effort to continue with that project and move forward in our facilities, we want to continue the project and move forward with the first floor downstairs. And then the next phase in the 26-27 budget from withdrawal of capital reserve will be to do the second and third floor on the back side of the high school. And the reason for the second and third floor is those, you cannot do the second floor without doing the third floor, or vice versa, because it's a curtain wall system. So all of those windows are connected, and we just thought it made sense to continue with that side of the building because that's where the cafeteria was, and the reason the cafeteria was chosen was because it services the most students, it services the community. There's a whole lot of events that happen in the cafeteria, and so we're looking to move forward with continuing that project. We want to do it as a change order because when we were fortunate enough that the company that started the project was on a co-op. And what that means is we didn't have to put it out to bid, and so we got very favorable pricing on the windows and doors. And so we, until March 31st, because I don't know what governor it was, but signed, there was an issue with co-ops, and so now there's a whole host of issues with co-ops and purchasing of it, but because this is a change order, we're able to secure the pricing, and we have the money allocated in the budget through capital reserve. So that's why we're bringing this forward now. It does not affect our operational costs at all. It's completely separate money, which I think is a very important distinction because it's money that's been set aside for capital needs and can only be used for facility projects. And so, like I said, this would be the second sort of phase, and then phase 3 would happen because we don't have the money available in this budget would be to allocate additional funds for the 26-27, but still use the co-op pricing, because if not, then you get into putting it out to bid, and then the contractors all fight and jack up their prices. And so if we can continue and at least get one side of the building with high efficiency windows and doors, it helps our costs for the future.
And the goal is, like, we don't stop there, like, we continue to reassess and do the side of the building and encapsulate. Stephanie keeps talking, Dr. Kuchar, I'm sorry, always talks about encapsulating our assets. And we have the roof, and this continues to encapsulate our assets. And that's very, very important, especially when we are hemorrhaging heat costs with some of these windows. They're as thick as this little water bottle, the glass.
And there's certainly a need at the other buildings, but the reason the high school is really being targeted right now is because it's the only district that doesn't have high efficiency boilers. We have steam heat, and so we're constantly pouring money into the boilers and steam heat. It's not efficient at all, and so if we can try to control those costs somehow, it would be through windows and doors. So it's an investment, but it's an investment into the future, and that will realize savings through reduced energy costs. And then lastly, with the new governor, you typically see this. The budget is in state statute and never really moves. I think it's March 20th, the preliminary budget is due, and like May 10th, the public hearing has to, or May 9th, the public hearing has to happen. And there have been times in the past when the governor has delayed the state budget address and the district budget has not moved. This year, they're so gracious and extended the deadline for the preliminary budget to be submitted to the county office. What that means for the board is we had a work session on March 11th and we had the regular session scheduled for March 18th. The governor's address will be on March 10th. We'll get our state aid numbers on March 12th. So really, the March 11th meeting is not really, has served no purpose at this point. And the preliminary budget was originally due to the county on March 19th, and that has been pushed to March 27th. So my recommendation would be to have a work session on March 18th and have the regular session on March 25th. It would be pushed back a week. If you can look at your calendars, just because this would be a change, I would appreciate it. You would need a majority of the board.
On Wednesdays?
I'm around the 18th, but I'm here on that.
Yeah, I'm not available on the 25th.
Those are Wednesdays, right?
They're both Wednesdays.
That's fine. I'm okay with that.
Wait, Cheryl, you're not good on the 18th.
Joe's not good on that 25th.
Is anyone else have any conflicts at this time? Yeah. Are you good, Andrew?
The alternative would
You can
be to just have one meeting on one date, but I think, to be fully transparent, right now, the budget has a 6%, I'm projecting a 6% loss in state aid. And that was based on what was told last year, was it was capped at 3%, and the following year was gonna be capped at 6%. Obviously, with a new governor, that's completely out the window, but you have to start somewhere, and so anything beyond a 6% loss would mean significant cuts, and so I don't know how quickly those decisions can be made in less than a week. So that's why I really think if we can do the 18th and 25th, it would be better.
You're okay with that? Okay.
Okay. So I will advertise those and let the rest of the board know that the March work will be the 18th, both starting at 7 p.m. and March 25th, 7 p.m. Right? That concludes my report.
Anyone have any questions? Okay. Any liaison board committee reports?
I am Kendra Moore for the Public on News of the Board since November. I am now the liaison for the mayor and council with Mr. DaCosta. I attended the meeting, I don't know the date, is in February, introduced myself. It was a pretty short meeting. They didn't have any correspondence for us. They just said they'll take my name and number and reach out if needed. That's my report.
Thank you. Anyone else?
February 10th, Finance and Facilities Committee met. Just before, going through this, I want to really express thanks to Dr. Kuchar and Mr. Galasso for really the very hard work they're doing with the budget and budget challenges. As the chair of Finance and Negotiations, I've actually spent way too much time with them now. And the wood chips thing, really hurt me. I was like, we need more wood chips. Because it's a very, very difficult, tight budget that we're under, and because of the leadership of Dr. Kuchar and Mr. Galasso, we are not nearly in as bad a situation as some of maybe the more surrounding districts that have been in the news, but it is still a lot of difficult decisions have been made and are going to continue to be made just based on things that we expect would happen. We don't even know exactly how much state aid we're not going to have. So it has been a challenge and something that with their leadership has been obviously much easier, and then also the commitment and the hard work of the committee. So we met on February 10th, and we talked about some of the things that Dr. Kuchar mentioned. The high school cafeteria, windows. There were some discussions about some other potential projects that we could take on from Capital Reserve, which for the public, Capital Reserve is not, just because there's going to be cuts in the budget potentially, Capital Reserve is a whole different account that you need to use for specific things. So if there are improvements to the windows and things like that, just to be clear, that's not coming out of we're not cutting and then all of a sudden making these improvements. We are mandated to use the Capital Reserve for those specific things. Obviously during the meeting we talked about the 2026 and 2027 budget. We talked about the benefits increase that has been planned, and then also I think Mr. Galasso told me, I think it was over the past 2 years it has risen. Is it 58%?
58%, right?
Yeah. So just if I could jump in for a second, a school budget runs on a fiscal calendar July 1 through June 30th, and a health benefit cycle runs from January through December. And so we know what our costs are for 6 months, and we have to project what the next 6 months will be in any given budget. And so this year, we were hit with, I believe it was 27.8% across the 4 plans. We're in the state health benefits plan. And for next year, they're telling us to budget another 30%. And so when your tax levy is capped at 2%, your other revenues are pretty well fixed, and then you have the rising costs of everything else when you're getting hit with those significant increases in health benefits alone. It's just not sustainable. And so when the board is going to be paying this state health benefits plan, we're projecting over $1 million a month for the benefit year 2027. There's no place else for that money to come from or go. And that's just, it's to no fault of anyone. We did, on February 20th, you're able to request your experience rate from the state to potentially go out to the marketplace. We did it 2 years ago. I guess they did it on February 19th, 2023, or 24. And so now we could do it on February 20th, 2026. And so we did. It's probably not going to be too good because we used the plan. We used the plan, which is, that's what it's there for, but it doesn't help because now what's happening is any district who could leave the state plan is leaving the state plan, which is just hurting the pool of when they go for renewal. And so here we are with these high costs.
Wait for the damper on my report. Way to go. Yeah, so
You led the horse to water.
the good news committee over here just ruined my aura. But okay, so that's the bad news, and there's obviously more bad news, which is that we are losing revenue and tuition. We have lost state aid 3 years in a row. We have all different things that that we're considering and things that we're working around. And again, I really can't. And by the way, this is like a world problem, right? This is not like a school district problem. Insurance costs are rising everywhere, so this is not something that is anybody's fault within education. So anyway, we did talk about the varsity prep partnership, which I think was a really positive presentation here by Mr. Tier. So we are working with whatever problems are given to us. The administration is solution-based completely and working hard with the board and others and their staff and faculty, and everybody's making sacrifices to really make sure that these cuts or anything that's going to happen is not going to adversely affect the children. So, and that's our main goal. So that is my finance and facilities report. And then my secret committee that I meet with every so often is negotiations, and the chair of that one too. And we are, even though the contract with the teachers is a 5-year contract, in that contract we have something in there to talk about, like to renegotiate potentially schedule C and D, which is what we're doing right now. I can't tell you anything that was said, but we did meet a productive second meeting with the group, and then we're scheduled to meet again next month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tony?
The policy committee met on February 2nd, and Mr. Galasso sent out an email today reminding us that we're not having a March meeting because of the timing of the board meeting, etc. In our committee meeting, we talked about all the policies and regulations that are up for first reading this evening. If I can draw your attention to the bottom, or when we get to the page of the agenda, we're abolishing 4 different policies and regulations. And essentially what that is, in the state's infinite wisdom, at one point concerning sexual harassment, there was one policy and regulation for certificated staff members and one for non-certificated. And quite honestly, they were almost the same thing. So the state realized that and put it all together into one policy and regulation, and also touched upon Title VII and Title IX in terms of different types of sexual harassment. So those policies include the different areas that have to be investigated, who investigates it, etc. And that is a relatively new policy that we're putting together tonight, or first reading. We also have nepotism and the employment of chief school administrator as relatively new policies that came from our policy vendor. We also have continued our task of taking a look at existing policies and trying to refresh them where necessary. Either they got missed at some point over the last 7 or 8 years, or it's just a matter of, let's take another fresh look at the policy, get a new policy approval date to show that we're constantly looking to review those types of things. So first reading tonight only for all the things on the agenda. Thank you.
I just want to bring up, we had our first inaugural transportation committee on January 26th. And really it's an important committee because it kind of looks into finances and how to fix some of our problems with transportation, either eliminating routes or merging routes so that we can do it more effectively and costly. Anyone else have any presentations? Okay. We're going to go with any correspondence? Okay. Open to the public for items on the agenda as outlined in the Milford Board of Education Bylaw 0167. Each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 3 minutes. I seek a motion. Joe, seconded by Stephanie. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Is anyone from the public? Please state your name and town.
Lynn LaPage, Milford. Just for my own curiosity, P25-2668, the last one is a substitute teacher. And I'm just curious, there's 2 different amounts there that obviously will be added together. I'm just curious as to where they came from.
All right, so you're talking Miles Yanamau.
Yes.
Yeah. So he typically was hired as a paraprofessional for us. So his daily rate is $172.97. When we increase him to a substitute, he's taking on more responsibility with lesson planning and such. So we have kind of defined amongst administration that for a substitute, it's a long-term substitute for the district is $200 a day. So we make up that difference with that.
Okay, thanks.
Anyone else have any questions regarding the agenda? Okay. I seek a motion to close to the public. Tony, seconded by Joe. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, board action. Having the recommendation of the superintendent, I seek a motion for BA 25-26.56 and .57. Andrew, seconded by Tony. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Educational programs and curriculum, Stephanie Carpenter.
Make a motion to seek approval for C25-26.28, .29, .30, and .31, and .32.
I need a second. Andrew, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Personnel, I seek a motion for P25-26.68, .69, .70, .71, .72, .73, and .74. I need a second. Stephanie, roll call.
Mr. Albrow,
Yes.
Ms. Calderon,
Yes.
Ms. Carpenter,
Yes.
Mr. Lombardi,
Yes.
Mr. Luna,
Yes.
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Vice President Dunn,
Yes.
President Gomez.
Yes. Okay, finance and facilities, Cheryl Calderon.
I seek a motion for the approval of F25-26.147, .148, .149, .150, .151, .152, .153, .154. I'm going to just say .147 through.
Yeah, you have so many. I don't know, let's do it.
Years.
Where did you stick them?
Okay.
There's not, I looked at it. It goes-
156, .157,
Yeah, it goes.
.158, .159, .160, .161, .162, .163, .164, .165, .166, .167, .168, .169, and .170.
I need a second.
And one second.
Wait, do you have a question?
I just wanted to say something about one of them, if I may, and then I'll second it. But 2526.163 is a new scholarship honoring Judge Bachman, whose kids went to school here. I knew Keith personally. Keith was also a student here, And believe it or not, my wife's aunt was actually his like first grade teacher, and just a wonderful man who unfortunately we all say less. That's all.
And Joe's our second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, athletics and co-curricular, Nicole Dunn.
First, I want to thank the volunteers for these positions. So I seek a motion for AC 25-26.
Need a second? Joe, all in favor? Opposed? Policy, Anthony Albro.
I wish to move policy 25-26.6, which, as I had mentioned before, is the first reading of policies and regulations.
Need a second? Andrew, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, any old business? Any new business? Any board member requests for additional information? Okay, I seek a motion to open to the public as outlined in Milford Board of Education bylaw 0167. Each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 3 minutes. Need a second? Nicole, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any questions from the public? Seek a motion to close to the public. Tony, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we are adjourned. We're not doing that. I need a motion to adjourn. Andrew, seconded by Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I didn't see that one.